Hi, my name is Madeline, and welcome to my Loose Cherry Blossom Springtime Road watercolor tutorial. This is the loose cherry blossom landscape we will be painting together. I'm going to go over the supplies really quickly. I'll be painting with 100% watercolor paper by the brand Bao. The colors that we're going to be using today are yellow ochre, opera rose, quin rose, French vermilion, ultramarine blue, sap green, sepia, Payne's gray, and neutral tint. As for the brushes, I'm going to be using a Holbein brush to wet our paper, a few mop brushes, and a few round brushes by the brand Polina Bright. And I'm also going to be using a size 1 liner by Silver Black Velvet. I have some masking tape to tape my paper down. I have my paint palette right here for mixing, and I have 2 jars of water. I will be using a spray bottle as well as a hot air tool to speed up the drying times. All the supplies I use in this tutorial will be listed with links in the description below. Let's get started. My paper is already taped down on all 4 sides with my masking tape. I'm grabbing my Holbein brush, which is just a flat brush that's made out of animal hair, and as a result, it's really thirsty, so it wets my paper very quickly. Now that my paper is all wet, I'm going to grab my larger mop brush and pick up some ultramarine blue. I'm going to add in a tiny bit of Payne's gray, and we're going to paint the sky in the upper half of our paper. We're going to leave the space to the right and the left of the middle white because that's where our cherry blossom trees will be. Now I'm going to grab some quinacridone rose, and we're going to paint the trees very loosely, like this. To make sure the pink does not bleed into the blue of our sky, we will use a very light wash of quin rose and try to limit our brushstrokes to the areas with the trees. Now I'm going to grab some Payne's gray, and I'm going to make the outline of our road down here. Now I'm going to switch to my large round brush and grab a little bit of sap green to paint the green grass where the trees are. My green right here exploded, so I'm going to try to lift some of the paint off. So to prevent heavy bleeding of our paint into the rest of our paper, we want to try to use a very light wash. Now I'm going to grab some opera rose and make some light paint splatters. And because this is all wet on wet, the colors are bleeding very nicely here, and it has a very pretty soft effect. The key here is to not overdo the splattering or the accent blooms. Try to limit the paint splatters to the area where the trees are. And I'm going to drop a little bit more with my brush. I like how that looks, and I'm going to dry this layer. I'm grabbing my smaller mop brush now and taking a watery mixture of opera rose and quin rose to darken some parts of the trees. I'm going to grab my spray bottle and spray the trees to soften up these edges. Now I'm going to grab my larger round brush and some more Payne's Gray, and we're going to darken the road. We do not need to paint the entire road. I want it to look very loose, so we're just going to make broad, dry brush strokes like this. I'm going to soften up the top right here because I want it to look like it's faded as we look ahead. And I'm going to darken the grass area again with a little bit more sap green. Now I'm going to mix some yellow ochre, opera rose, and crin rose to get a deeper red mixture of paint and lightly splatter the trees again. Now let's dry this layer. Now I want to paint the tree trunks. Cherry blossom trees have dark brown tree trunks, so I'm going to grab some sepia and loosely paint the trees in a row here along our street. So as we're looking down the road, the trees are going to get smaller the farther away they are from us. So I'm going to have the upper part of our tree trunks roughly lined up at the same level, but the bottom of the tree trunks are going to be shorter to show perspective. Now I'm going to add some loose branches to the tops of the trees. Do not overdo this part either, just do a few brush strokes to keep it simple. Now I'm going to grab that darker red mixture and loosely paint some darker areas of the cherry blossom trees. I'm making medium and small brush strokes so that it gives the trees some depth. Now I'm going to grab my liner brush and grab some yellow ochre to draw the yellow center divider of our road. And the last thing we're going to do is grab a watery mixture of neutral tint and paint some birds to finish off this piece. Once we have completely dried this layer, we can peel off the masking tape. And this is our Loose Cherry Blossom Springtime Road watercolor landscape. If you liked this video, don't forget to hit subscribe, and if you enjoy my content, use the following QR codes to either find me on Patreon or Instagram.